Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jack, and with me today is Elena.
Hi, everyone.
Elena is an expert, and she's going to help us understand something that I think a lot of people are curious about. We're going to be talking about how to not care what other people think. It's something we all think about sometimes.
Yeah, it's true, Jack. A lot of people, I think, want to learn how to feel less worried about what other people think. And it's important to remember that it's completely normal to care about other people's opinions. We are social creatures, and feeling connected to others is really important to us.
So it's not about, not caring at all, but maybe just, learning to care a little less. So why do we care so much in the first place? I think it's because we all want to be accepted. We want to belong and feel like we're part of the group.
Yeah, you're right, Jack. If you think about our ancestors like thousands of years ago, if they weren't part of a group, it was actually dangerous for them. They needed the group to survive, to find food and shelter.
So even though we don't live in tribes anymore, that need to belong is still inside us. And then today we have all of society telling us what to do and how to be.
It's true, we see these messages everywhere about how we should look, how we should act, what we should achieve, and it's easy to start comparing ourselves to other people and, maybe feeling bad about ourselves.
Yeah, I know I do that sometimes. I'll see someone who's really successful and I'll think, oh, I should be more like that.
We all do it, Jack, but it's important to remember that you are in control of your own life.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can choose how I react to these messages and these ideas. I don't have to let them control me.
And there are actually three basic human needs that are really helpful to understand when it comes to this. And those are control, connection, and consistency.
Hmm. Those sound interesting. Can you explain a little more about what each of those means?
Sure. So the need for control basically means we want to feel like we have power over our own lives. We want to make our own choices and feel like we can influence things.
So if someone criticizes me, it makes me feel like I'm losing control. Maybe that's why it bothers me so much.
Yeah, that's a good insight, Jack. And a lot of times when we feel like we're losing control, we try to control other people's opinions of us. So we might try to please them or we might seek their approval just to feel more in control.
This sounds really tiring. What about the need for connection?
So connection is all about wanting to feel accepted and loved by other people. We all want to be liked and respected, but the problem is that sometimes we can let that need control our lives.
Yeah, so if I'm always trying to please everyone else, I might forget about what I actually want.
Exactly. And then there's consistency. Consistency means we like things to be predictable and stable. And when something unexpected happens, it can make us feel really anxious.
So if someone gives me negative feedback, it can feel like my whole world is shaking.
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it.
So all three of these needs control, connection, and consistency. They all kind of play a part in why we worry so much about what other people think.
Yeah, they definitely do. But I think the most important thing to remember is this. You can choose how you react to any situation. You're not a prisoner to your emotions or your needs.
That makes me feel a little bit more powerful. I can recognize those emotions and then choose how I want to respond.
Exactly. And just remember, other people's opinions are just opinions. They don't define you or your worth. You have the power to decide how much weight you give to those opinions.
I like that. That's good advice, Lena. I think I'm starting to understand this better. But how do I actually put all of this into practice? It's easy to say I don't care, but it's much harder to actually do it. How can I actually learn to just shrug off criticism or ignore negative comments?
Well, Jack, it's true, Jack. It takes time and practice, but there are things you can do to help. One strategy that I find really helpful is to practice what's called radical self-acceptance.
Radical self-acceptance, what does it mean?
Well, it means accepting yourself fully, including your flaws and imperfections, recognizing that you are worthy of love and acceptance no matter what other people think.
So it's about loving myself even when I make mistakes, even when I don't feel perfect.
Exactly. And you know what? Research has actually shown that people who make mistakes are often seen as more likable.
Really? So being perfect isn't always a good thing.
Not at all. It's called the pratfall effect. Imagine a famous actor tripping on stage. It might actually make them seem more human and relatable to the audience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nobody's perfect, and it's okay to show that. So embracing our imperfections, that's a good start. What else can we do to change how we think about this whole thing?
Well, it's helpful to remember that everything changes. Feelings change, opinions change, situations change. Nothing stays the same forever.
So even if someone doesn't like me today, they might feel differently tomorrow.
Exactly. And even if they don't, does it really matter in the big picture of your life?
I guess not. It's just one small part of my whole story.
hmm
Okay, so changing our perspective can help, But what about like practical things that we can do like every day? Can you give us some tips or strategies?
Absolutely. Have you ever heard of the spotlight effect?
The spotlight effect, what is that?
The spotlight effect is this thing where we think everyone is watching us. We think they're noticing every little thing we do and every mistake we make. But in reality, people are usually too busy thinking about themselves.
Oh, I know that feeling. Like if I spill coffee on myself, I feel like everyone's staring at me.
Exactly. But most people are probably just thinking about their own day. They're not paying that much attention to you.
That's a relief. So next time I'm feeling self-conscious, I'll try to remember the spotlight effect. What about any other practical tips?
Yeah, there's another one that's really helpful called the mirror principle.
The mirror principle, what's that one?
Well, the mirror principle says that when we judge other people, it often reflects our own insecurities.
So if I'm always criticizing other people, it might actually mean I'm not feeling very good about myself.
That's a great insight. Try this exercise. For 1 week, try not to judge anyone, including yourself. It's called a non-judgment challenge.
That sounds challenging, but I bet I would learn a lot about myself. What other strategies can we use?
Gratitude and mindfulness are really powerful tools. They can help you focus on what's important and not get so caught up in what other people think.
How do those work?
Well, gratitude means appreciating the good things in your life. Take some time each day to think about what you're thankful for. They can be big things or small things.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about the good things when I'm feeling down. Gratitude can help me remember what's important.
Exactly. And then mindfulness means being present in this moment. Don't dwell on the past or worry about the future. Just focus on what's happening right now.
Okay, so gratitude helps me appreciate what I have, and mindfulness helps me stay calm and focused. I like that. Do you have one last tip for us?
Yes, try to be interested instead of interesting.
What do you mean by that?
Instead of trying to impress people, try to be genuinely interested in them. Ask them questions, listen to their answers, be present in the conversation.
That's good advice.
Hmm.
When I'm trying too hard to be interesting, I'm not really connecting with the other person.
That's right. Being interested in others is a much better way to build relationships.
So we've learned about the spotlight effect, the mirror principle, gratitude, mindfulness, and being interested instead of interesting.
That's a lot of great tips, Elena. I feel like I have a lot to think about now. It sounds like it's about finding a balance, right? Like we don't want to completely stop caring about what other people think, but we don't want to care too much either.
Yeah, you're right. It's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where we can care about other people's opinions, but we don't let them control us.
So how do we find that balance? How do we know if we're caring like the right amount?
That's a great question. And honestly, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But I think it comes down to listening to your own heart. Think about your values and what's truly important to you.
So if I'm making choices that feel right to me, and I'm going after my goals and not being afraid to put myself out there, then I'm probably on the right track.
Exactly. It's about living a life that feels authentic to you, even if it doesn't look exactly like what other people expect.
I like that it's about being true to myself and not worrying so much about what everyone else thinks. And remember, it's a journey, There will be times when you feel more self-conscious than others, and that's totally okay. Just keep practicing the things we've talked about today, and remember, you're not alone in this.
Well, this has been a really eye-opening conversation, Elena. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, remember, you are amazing just the way you are. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining your light. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.